Chapter 1 Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice was getting very bored sitting next to her sister on the riverbank with nothing to do. She looked at her sister's book a few times, but it had no pictures or conversations. Alice thought, what good is a book without pictures or talks? She thought about making a daisy chain, but it was hot and she felt sleepy and silly. Suddenly a white rabbit with pink eyes ran past her. Alice didn't think it was strange when she heard the rabbit say, "Oh dear, I'm going to be late." She only realized later that it was unusual. But when the rabbit took out a watch from its pocket, Alice was surprised because she had never seen a rabbit with pockets or a watch before. She was very curious and ran after it to see where it went. The rabbit disappeared into a big hole under a hedge. Alice followed it without thinking about how she would get out again. The rabbit hole went straight for a while, then suddenly dropped down. Alice didn't have time to stop herself and fell down a deep well. She fell down a well and had time to look around. She saw shelves with jars labeled orange marmalade, but they were empty. She didn't want to drop the jar, so she put it in a cupboard as she fell. Alice thought to herself, wow! If I survive falling like this, I won't be afraid to fall downstairs. People at home will think I'm brave. I wouldn't tell anyone even if I fell from the roof of my house. Which was probably true. Falling down, down, down. Will it ever end? Alice asked herself. I wonder how far I've fallen, she said out loud. I must be close to the center of the earth. Let's see, it should be about 4,000 miles down, she remembered from her school lessons. Yes, that sounds right. But I don't know my latitude or longitude, Alice said, not knowing what those terms meant but liking the sound of them. She started talking again. She wondered if she would fall through the ground. It would be funny to come out among people who walk with their heads down. She was glad no one was listening because what she said didn't sound right. She wanted to ask the name of the country she was in. Was it New Zealand or Australia? She tried to curtsy while she was falling, but it was hard. She felt like an ignorant girl for asking. She thought it wouldn't be a good idea to ask, maybe she would see it written somewhere. Alice was falling down and talking to herself. She missed her cat Dinah and wondered if she would be remembered at tea time with a saucer of milk. Alice got sleepy and wondered if cats eat bats. She dozed off and dreamt she was walking with Dinah and asking if she ever ate a bat. Suddenly, she fell onto a pile of sticks and leaves. Alice wasn't hurt at all and she quickly got up. It was dark overhead, but she could see a long passage in front of her. The white rabbit was still there, running fast. Alice ran after it quickly because she didn't want to waste any time. She soon caught up with the rabbit and heard it say as it turned a corner, "Oh my ears and whiskers, how late it's getting." But when Alice turned the corner, the rabbit was gone. She found herself in a long, dimly lit hall with lamps hanging from the ceiling. The hall had doors all around, but they wouldn't open. Alice tried every door on one side and then the other, but none of them worked. She walked down the middle feeling sad and wondering how she would ever escape. She stumbled upon a small glass table with 3 legs. There was only a small golden key on it. Alice thought the key might open a door, but it did not fit any of them. Later, she saw a low curtain she hadn't noticed before, and behind it was a small door only 15 inches tall. She tried the key and it fit. Alice opened a door and saw a small passage that was not very big, like a hole for rats. She got on her knees and looked at a beautiful garden through the passage. She really wanted to go there and walk among the flowers and fountains, but she couldn't even put her head through the door. Alice thought, if my head fits, my shoulders won't. I wish I could close myself up like a telescope. I think I could if I just knew how. Recently, many strange things had happened to Alice and she started to believe that almost anything was possible. She went back to the table after waiting by the door didn't help. She hoped to find a key or instructions on it. Alice found a bottle with a label that read "Drink ME" in big letters. Alice was smart and didn't want to drink something that might be poisonous. She said she would look first and see if it was marked as poison or not. She remembered stories about kids who got hurt because they didn't follow simple rules. She knew hot things can burn you and cutting yourself with a knife makes you bleed. Alice also knew that drinking from a bottle marked poison is bad for you. Alice drank from a bottle without knowing it was poison because it wasn't labeled. The drink tasted good, like a mix of cherry, custard, pineapple, turkey, toffee, and buttered toast. Alice drank it all quickly. "What a strange feeling," said Alice. "I must be closing up like a telescope." She was now only 10 inches tall and she was happy because she could now fit through the small door to the beautiful garden. But she waited a little while to see if she would get smaller. She was a bit nervous about this. "What if I just disappear like a candle?" she thought. Alice tried to imagine what a candle looks like after it's blown out, but she couldn't remember ever seeing it before. Alice wanted to go into the garden. She waited, but nothing happened. She remembered she forgot the key and went back to get it, but she couldn't reach it. She tried to climb the table, but it was too slippery. She got tired and sat down, crying. "Stop crying," said Alice to herself in a stern voice. "I tell you to stop right now." Alice often gave herself good advice, but she rarely followed it. Sometimes she scolded herself so much that she made herself cry. She even remembered trying to hit her own ears because of cheating in a game of croquet with herself. Alice liked pretending to be two people. But now, she thought, it's no use pretending to be two people. There's not enough of me left to be one good person. Alice saw a small glass box under the table. She opened it and found a tiny cake with "Eat Me" written on it with currants. She thought, I'll eat it. If it makes me grow bigger, I can reach the key. If it makes me smaller, I can go under the door. Either way, I'll get into the garden. She ate a small amount and worriedly asked herself, which way? Which way? She placed her hand on top of her head to see if she grew taller, but was shocked to find that she stayed the same size. Usually, when you eat cake, this happens. But Alice was used to unusual things happening, so it felt boring for things to stay normal. She started working and quickly finished the cake.